If you're following our Goldwing adventures, this is the Goldwing that we're in the process of trying to recover, get back on the road. We've pulled the spark plugs, we oiled the cylinders, we pulled the fuel tank, we dumped the really bad smelling fuel that was in it out, flushed it out with some fresh fuel, reinstalled it, changed the air filter. Soon we'll be changing the oil, changing the coolant. But right now, we had it ready, we thought, to fire. So we wanted to make sure she was a runner and capture any big issues. And well, she's not a runner. And the blame seems to lie with the fuel pump. So I've siphoned the tank back out. One thing to be careful of. So if you've got a nice full tank up in here somewhere, you pull this fuel pump and you're going to have gas going out. So I siphoned it down, hopefully far enough. Hopefully we're down in here at least. And so now we're going to see about the fuel pump. What we have, the fuel pump shows, fuel pump plug has voltage going to it, battery voltage. When the key's on, we hear the relay clicking, engaging. We hear nothing, no fuel pump sounds whatsoever. And that's even so far as to put your hand here on the back of the motor, feel for some vibration. Nothing, motor's just not turning on. Could be a couple things. One thing we consider could be is that there's a low level switch on the fuel pump. It might be stuck. Or the fuel pump could just be toast. So it's been sitting around for a lot of years without any operation. So yeah, we're not taking any bets. So we're going to go ahead, take up the fuel pump, check it out, order some new one if that's the case, and get on with this. So we're going to let you follow the fuel pump replacement on a 2003 Honda Goldwing. Well, hopefully we've gotten what we think are the right tools, and we're just going to take it a step at a time, hoping you can see us reasonably well from your vantage point. First, we're going to remove this fuel return line. Fuel injected system, high pressure pump, has a fuel return line so that pump doesn't deadhead at high pressure, overheat, and die. So we've got the fuel return line disconnected. I'm going to move it outside the frame there. All this is a little awkward, this cover on here, but we're going to take off the fuel sending unit, fuel level sender connection here, and then it's going to be hard to show you with this in the way, but we're going to take off the fuel pump electrical connection. I'm going to push it through this cover, and then we'll move it out of the way. Come on, baby. There we go. So we're going to get those wires out of the way. And then it just leaves us with the discharge piping and the cover in the way. This is a 2 number 8 metric bolts. Underneath this, once we get these bolts, underneath this will be an O-ring seal for the fuel feed line. Be sure when you change out your fuel pump, you check your O-ring. Matter of fact, it's always a good idea even to lubricate that O-ring a little bit before you reinstall it. So there's the O-ring there. And so basically, the fuel pump's disconnected. You can take this return line off here or here. I just took it off here right now because it's most convenient for me. Now the fun part, this is a ring lock that goes around the fuel pump. So we're just going to take our hammer and we're going to tap. There's a couple of tabs on the top of the ring up here. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And so we're just going to tap that ring. And in our case, turn nicely. So that ring is disengaged. Looks like so. And there's a second ring, this one, which also lifts off. And then the entire fuel pump assembly is free to come out of the tank. Now we are quite full on fuel still. I don't know if you can see it there or not. Pretty substantial level. It will go down as we take more and more of this fuel pump out of here. But it's pretty full. Now here's the tricky part with this fuel pump. First, note which way it came in and went out, which side. You can use whatever reference you like. I'm going to use these bolts on this side. So center. And then you just have to start manipulating it until we can manage to get it out of there. Guess I'll let you watch my struggles while I figure this out. Took a little wire there and pulled it out. There we go. Just got to do a little wiggling and jiggling. Would recommend you siphon it down further than I did. Like everything, once you've done it once, you'll know how to do it. Until then, however, the bad was on. Well, getting this thing out of here is a little tricky, a little doable. Find a good video on this, it'll make it easier. Hopefully you already found one. So, what we're going to do here, we're going to lift it up. A little twisty, little turn. We're going to push it as far that way as we can. Like that. Quite far. There we go. Now we're getting far enough. And then you're going to turn it this way. Roll it out like this. So we're going to lift it and roll it. Just like so. Let some of this excess gas run out of here. So I think we're probably going to use our siphon hose again. I'm going to siphon a bit more gas out of here. This thing's a little bit full. So we're going to set this out for a minute. Finish cleaning up this tank and see what it looks like. Our fuel pump finally came in, so we're going to begin the fuel pump replacement process on this 2003 Honda Goldwing. So the old fuel pump out. We showed you on the last one how to take the fuel pump out. One thing I didn't show you or note for you on the last video is there was a gasket, green rubberized gasket right there. This is the old one. The new pump came with a new gasket. So we're going to install the new gasket in the ring location. Then we're going to install the new fuel pump. Looking at orientation, there's the high pressure outlet. It's on this side of the bike, based on the reference we made before, so this goes in here. And eases right on down. How beautiful is that? So make sure our gasket's still in place, and it is. Make sure the orientation's right, and we will seat the pump right there. Now to install the pumps, opposite taking it out obviously, we're going to put the outer ring on, lines up on some tabs. Go. And then we put the top ring on top of that. The tricky part is pushing it all down, get everything exactly in the right location. And then once you get tabs engaged on the hold downs, then you can begin to use a screwdriver and a hammer and tap it around. Once you start to get all the tabs engaged in the ring, then you can switch the screwdriver. Start getting a little more serious about it. You just watch it all the way around, making sure all the tabs are engaged and the hold downs. You got to be all quiet, it's good. So, there you go. It's installed. Take off the protective covers and just reinstall opposite of install. So, won't bother you with that. Let's see if it's going to work. We finished up the fuel pump install, hooked up the inlet line, hooked up the return line, hooked up the electrical for the fuel level sender and the pump. We left this vent line off to the side, and we had a bucket that we set over there on that foot peg, and basically we allowed the fuel pump to prime and flush out the fuel rail just to make sure that we had good fuel flow, and it seemed like we did. So then we took the key like that, and we hit the pump button like that, and that's what happened. So the Dragon lives. That's the first breath of life for this life in quite a few years. So now on to the next thing. At least we got a runner.